Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, Cooking for the Family. I'm Dyvonne, and today we're going to make one of my favorite comfort meals, chicken a la king, and we're going to be cooking it in the crock pot. It is a hearty, wonderful, comforting meal. I cannot wait to share this simple recipe with you. This is going to be enough to feed a family of 5 or 6 people, and you guys, I hope you enjoy it as much as my family does. So let's get started. So first what we're going to do is we're going to be using 1 celery rib, and you want to go on and dice up your celery rib into bite-sized pieces. Now, chicken a la king was a dish that was pretty popular when I was growing up in the 70s and the 80s. I don't see it as often anymore, but it's definitely a dish that if you haven't had before, it's my pleasure to introduce it to you, and it is so good. It's just so tasty. And also chicken a la king, you can serve it over rice or either over puff pastries. You can also serve it over noodles such as like egg noodles, so it can be served a few different ways. Today we are going to be serving ours over steamed white rice. And so next what I'm doing is I have a yellow onion, and you want to use a yellow onion. I'm using a yellow onion, and I'm using half of an onion. If your onion is more on the small side, you can go on and use the full onion, but you're basically going to end up with 1 cup of chopped onion. Now in the description box below, as always, I'll have a list of all the ingredients you need to make this wonderful dish for your family. But what I'm going to share with you is how to put it together. I'm going to take my onion and celery and saute those in a couple of tablespoons of butter. Next, we're going to go on and slice up our mushroom, and I'm using baby bella mushrooms. Now the mushrooms are optional, but they do add a nice depth of flavor and an extra heartiness to our chicken a la king as well. You want to go on and slice up 8 ounces, and so my package that I'm using is an 8-ounce pack, and so I'm just going to go on and slice them. And you want your slices of your mushrooms to look about like this. Now once we have our mushrooms all sliced, we're going to go on and work on our chicken. I'm going to be using this all-purpose Morton's Nature Seasoning. We're going to be using this. This is salt, pepper, onion, and garlic all mixed in together. And so I find that it works really well when I'm making my chicken a la king, whether I'm doing it in the crock pot or if I decide to do it on the stove top. And so in my bowl, I have 10 pieces of boneless, skinless thighs. Now there's still like a little bit of the trimmings on there, and so I've trimmed it down as best as I can, but if you have a little bit on, that's okay. Now if you don't want to use the chicken thighs, you can also use chicken breasts. Now in the description box below, I'll have that information if you want to use chicken breasts versus the chicken thighs. Now usually about 8 chicken thighs or so we'll typically do for this recipe, but because we had a few pieces that were on the small side, I went on and I threw in a few extra of those chicken thighs. And when it comes to seasoning, you want to season it to your taste, but what I usually do is that I just go on and sprinkle on the seasoning till I have a nice like sheen on each side of my chicken thigh. Now if you don't have the Morton seasoning that I'm using, you can just simply use salt and pepper, a little garlic powder, a little onion powder, and in the description box below I will have that information for you as well. Now once we have all of our chicken, it's nice and seasoned, and we added it to our crock pot, I'm going to share with you how to make a quick and simple base that's going to be for our chicken a la king. For our base, what we're going to need is 1 can of cream of chicken soup, and we're using the condensed soup, so we're going to be using 1 can of that. We're going to add in 1 can of half and half. So we're going to fill our can with some half and half. Now, if you want it to be extra rich and creamy, you can substitute the half and half for heavy cream if you'd like. Now we are building a really nice base for our chicken a la king. Now if you are new to my channel, welcome in, and if you're a returner, welcome back. I'm so glad you returned. I truly appreciate your likes, your shares, your subscribes, your good vibe comments, and all of your wonderful questions. And for those that are not subscribed to my channel yet, I do invite you to hit that subscribe button and don't be a stranger. Now once we have those two blended together, we're going to add in 1 cup of chicken stock. Now you can use either chicken stock or chicken broth. Either one of those works just fine. And we're going to add it to our half and half and our cream of chicken soup mix as well. So we have our celery and onion that we had sauteed until they became nice and soft and a little translucent. We'll add that to our crock pot with our chicken. Next, we go on and add in our sliced mushroom that we have, and then we add in our mix of the half and half, the cream of chicken soup, and our chicken stock, or if you're using chicken broth, you go on and add that to your crock pot as well. I take my spoon and I just kind of move everything around, so I want the mix to kind of go down around the chicken as well. Then we're going to go on and top it. I'm going to go on and set my crock pot to high, and I'm going to set it for 4 hours. We're cooking our chicken thighs, so I'm going to set it for 4 hours, and we're going to check it at about 3 hours to see how it's doing. So our chicken a la king has been cooking for a few hours now. Everything is looking really good. It's smelling good in the kitchen. We go on and give it a stir. I want to see kind of how our chicken is doing. It should be just about done. And then I always like to look at the chicken as well as I just kind of press on it just to see for doneness, and it's feeling really firm. I'm going to go on and put the top on, let it cook for about another half an hour or so. Well, our chicken has been cooking for about 3 hours and 45 minutes now. It is nice and done. I'm going to go on and take our chicken out of our crock pot because I'm going to share with you a way that you want to go on and thicken up your a la king sauce a little bit. So first what we're going to do though is we're going to go on and take all of our chicken thighs out of our crock pot just like this. And with our chicken thighs, we're also going to be cutting them into pieces as well. We're going to cut them into some big chunks and some small chunks, bite-sized pieces. But before we do that, we want to give our a la king sauce a try, and we want to adjust for seasoning if need be. We need a little bit more seasoning. I'm going to go on and add in some black pepper. I'm just going to do a few dashes of black pepper. That's about 1/8 of a teaspoon, just a few dashes of black pepper. And when you taste your a la king sauce, you want to go on and season it to your taste. And so I'm going to add in a little bit of salt as well. And that was about 1/2 teaspoon of salt that I added. Go on and give that a stir. Now, once we added those additional seasonings to our taste, we're going to thicken it up. Now, in my bowl here, I have 2 tablespoons of butter, and you can use either salted or unsalted butter that I've melted. And to those 2 tablespoons of melted butter, I added in 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. This is our thickening agent that we use to thicken our soups or our stews. We're going to be thickening our chicken a la king with it. We're going to just go on and put a little bit in at a time, just like that. And then we're going to add the rest of our flour and butter mixture right to our crock pot. And you want your crock pot to be on high when you're doing this because we're going to let the butter and flour mixture cook into our a la king sauce for about 15 minutes on high. It doesn't take very long, and so just go on and mix everything around to make sure that the butter flour mixture went on and dissolved into our sauce that we have. And you will start to notice that your sauce will start to thicken up already. Now, before we put the top on our sauce to cook for that additional 15 minutes, we're going to add in 1 cup of peas and carrots. You can also add corn as well if you'd like, but we're just going to be using 1 cup of peas and carrots. Mix in the peas and carrots, then put the top onto your crock pot and let it go on and cook for that additional 15 minutes on high. While it's cooking, we're going to cut up our chicken into those nice pieces. It is looking so good. Oh my gosh, our chicken is nice and moist. Our chicken a la king is coming together so nicely, y'all. So the cut up chicken that I have right here, I'm going to go on and add that back in just like that. And if you were using the chicken breast, you would do the same thing where you would take the chicken breast out and you would go on and cut your chicken breast as well into those nice bite-sized pieces. And then you would also add them back to the crock pot. Now, we've added any of the juice that was also in our bowl that we had our chicken in. I add the chopped chicken back, and then our sauce will continue to thicken up a little bit more. This is coming together so nicely, y'all. I've got some rice already cooking to the side. It is going to go so great for our chicken a la king. Well, our chicken a la king is ready. It has cooked. Oh my gosh, do you see that? It has thickened up so nicely. Our sauce looks so good. I'm going to serve it over my rice right here, as well as if when you have your chicken a la king, you can take it and mix it in. You mix the sauce and the chicken and the vegetables and the rice. You could just mix it all together. You could just layer it on your plate just like I'm doing here. You can also use those wonderful noodles if you want to have it with egg noodles. I'm going to go on and put a little bit of parsley. That's totally optional, but I'm just going to put a couple dashes of parsley right on top. You can also serve your chicken chicken a la king over squares of puff pastry, but I'm going to get your bite ready. This is your bite right here. I got a little bit of everything on the fork just for you. Go ahead, take your bite. Okay, I'm going to give it a try and see how we did. Wow, y'all. This chicken a la king is so good. If you have never had chicken a la king, if you've never even heard of it before, I hope you give this recipe a try and comment down below and let me know, hey, are you a kid of the 70s and 80s like I was and had a chicken a la king every now and then as you were growing up? Well, that is it for me today, y'all. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I invite you to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video and appreciate the content, don't forget to show it some love. Give it a thumbs up. Click share this video with a friend or family. I thank you for spending time with me today in my kitchen. And remember, it's always good when Dyvonne is cooking for the family. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.